Good evening, everybody. Hope you all are doing well. Do me a favor and start tagging people. Start tagging people. Start tagging people. Start tagging your fellow impactors. Tag some friends and family. Get them in the place on tonight as we prepare to go forward.
Hello, everybody.
As you come in, speak to your brothers and sisters. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for tagging individuals. Thank you. Thank you. Good evening. Good evening. All right. While you're tagging individuals, while you're um, making sure that other people get in here and sharing this, I want to remind you that we are, of course, back in the sanctuary on Sunday, 6904 Pool Road. God's going to bless us indeed. Listen, we are doing an amazing job as a church as we are approaching our first growth goal of the year. We have some goals that we have as a church. We want to receive 25 new members into the family, and right now we are at 19. And that's extremely well, being that we have 6 weeks left in the first quarter of the year.
Yeah.
And so we are looking, I want to see those 6 come to the altar this Sunday, which means that, hey, we need you to invite people. We need you to get people in the room, get people in the building so that they can experience MMCC and understand that this is their place of destiny. So you all keep inviting people, keep sharing flyers, keep sharing our Sunday flyer. And we're going to see God continue to grow our church. Hello to everybody. Let's see.
What you gonna do if 6 people join Sunday? You gonna cry?
If 7 people join, I'm gonna cry. If 6 people join, I'm just gonna jump up for joy.
You're
All
such
right.
an overachiever.
All right. If 7 people join, I'll cry. If y'all want to see me cry, I'll cry. All right. Deacon Gilbert, good evening. Miss Tika, good evening. Ramona, good evening. Alex, good evening.
Did you already apologize for our tardiness?
No, I
Please
didn't.
forgive us. These children's schedules are trying to turn us everywhere but loose. Okay, so we are dividing and conquering, but we are here nevertheless.
Yes. Pastor Jeremiah, good evening. Kira, good evening. Deacon Bradley, good evening.
Good
Deacon
evening.
Banks, good evening. Mercedes, good evening. Um, Angel, good evening. Mother Webb, good evening. Leasia, good evening. Good evening. Good evening, everybody. Janai, good evening. Shannon, good evening. All right. All right. Brittany, good evening. Jasmine, good evening. Candace, thank y'all for coming in the room. All right, everybody. Good evening, everybody. All right, tonight we are discussing, we're in our Unleashed series, and we are talking about what we were going to talk about on Sunday, but the Lord came through.
Ooh, and I went left.
And met us tremendously. And we thank God for the moving of and the power of the Spirit. We thank God for having his way, and us being a church that's open to allowing God to have his way and allowing God to move the way that he wants to move. You got to be sensitive to the Spirit to for him to work like that. So tonight we are talking about circles that create cycles. Circles that create cycles. All right. Absolutely not, Jasmine. 1 Corinthians 15 and 33. We're not going to keep you long tonight. We probably won't even get through all of this. 1 Corinthians 15:33 says, do not be misled. Bad company corrupts good character. Bad company corrupts good character. Now, let me start by asking this question, and that is, what are the cycles that your connections have made you bound in? Could be cycles of frustration, could be cycles of anger. You're upset all the time, you're mad all the time, and you find yourself in those particular cycles. Or is it cycles of lack? Your connections keeping you in a place mentally of poverty. Um, or it could be cycles of procrastination, sexual habits, cycles. Low self-esteem can be a cycle that you find yourself in over and over again. Anxiety, stress, worry can be a cycle. All right. I've personally seen people very much affected and destiny harm by not being able to see through the intentions and the motives of contaminated people in their life. Um, when you aren't careful of those who you give access to and allowed to have influence in your life, their thoughts become your thoughts. Their perspective becomes your perspective. So if they are not pure in their connection, then they can manipulate you into functioning in a manner that benefits them.
Absolutely. And I think we should always consider the connections that we create and make in our lives as a big deal. We should always view them as important because the Bible says that if you are surrounded by bad people, if you keep bad company, if you are not discerning and watchful of the connections that you have, um, now you have now you have to deal with bad character. And one thing that I want to point out is that not only do you risk the chance of your character becoming corrupted, but even people believing that your character is corrupted simply based on the company that you keep. And a lot of us will use the excuse, well, people just should get to know me by for myself. Well, if you're surrounded by bad people, let's be honest, people are really not going to want to get to know you simply based on the company that you keep. So I really want us to understand the magnitude of our connections and discerning the fact that it really is a big deal.
Absolutely, absolutely. And um, bad company corrupts good character, and it corrupts also not just good character, which character speaks to who you are as an individual. And like Lady Ashley just said, bad company can also corrupt good reputation.
That's what I was looking for.
Yeah, bad company can corrupt good reputation. So you have to be careful who you connect with, because here you are connecting with people, and now you're carrying the baggage and the weight of a person unnecessarily.
Yep.
Here you are trying to fill voids that you didn't create in a person's life. So you must watch. You must watch also how you connect with unhealed people.
Yeah.
And people who are damaged. You must pay attention to how you create relationship with folk who aren't delivered. If you're trying to be delivered from a certain habit or a certain flaw, you can't necessarily be connected with people who have the same flaw that you have and don't want to be delivered. Right? It's the difference if they're accountability partner and we're both trying to push ourselves to a place of deliverance. But if you see clearly that this individual is not trying to be delivered, then you cannot be connected to them.
Yeah. And that's one of the things, like even people who are struggling with addiction, one of the things that their sponsors or their therapists will really stress is to not place yourself in environments where you're going to be tempted to go back to what you're trying to get delivered from. And so maybe you don't have an addiction, but maybe you have something that's really holding you or hindering you from going after your fullest potential or your purpose. Perhaps you are in a circle or you are in friendships or relationships that are really a breeding ground for you to keep messing up. They're really a breeding ground for you to have such a hard time relinquishing the pull that you have to do that bad thing. So again, your company is going to be very important. And one of the things that Bishop also just said about how we must be watchful about how we connect with unhealed people.
Mhm.
I made this point Sunday about those of us who are extremely empathetic, right? And so we have a heart to help people. We got a heart to want to fix damaged people, but you have to understand when that's your burden and when that's not your burden, when that's your problem and when that's not your problem. And so you can allow people to dump their mess on you if you are not prepared, or if you are not one strong enough to handle that kind of stuff.
Yeah, yeah. Let's go ahead to because I don't want to take up too much time. We got a long way to go, so we want to give you all some tips, because tonight, as we're talking about the particular people that you connect with, particular people that you allow in your space, we also want to let you know how to spot manipulators,
Mm.
how to label a person that's a manipulator in your life, because I believe that you need to categorize everybody in your life, whether you categorize them as a brother or a sister or a friend or an associate or just a person that you know. You also need to be able to label them by their fruit, by their works,
By their
by what they
character.
do,
Yeah.
so that you know how to handle them in your life or how to disconnect from them. All
Hmm.
right. So we want to give you a couple of steps. I don't know how many we'll get through, but we want to give you a couple of steps on what it looks like to have a manipulator in your life. I see this throughout the church, because you have to be careful who you allow to gain influence in your life. You got to be careful. Watch everybody who's always friendly, because witches are friendly
Ain't they?
and they know how to first become your friend.
Yeah.
All right. They look very nice. Their interaction with you is as if they're trying to help you, as if they're trying to be on your side, as if they're trying to be your friend. They come to you in your times of need. You have to
Mhm.
be mindful and very discerning of those individuals. So let's talk about manipulators. Number one.
They are always playing the victim. Always playing the victim. They are experts at playing that victim card. Abracadabra. Really? I'm sorry. They are experts at playing the victim card. Why do they do that? Because it's an effective way for them to gain sympathy and to control the narrative. They have to be in control of the narrative.
Yeah.
They have to find a way to one up you. They have to find a way to draw in that conversation to make it about them. They have to find a way to control what's being said, what way are we getting ready to go, all of that. Okay.
It's Candace. I'm sorry.
What's she saying?
The
I wish.
this
Oh my God.
tactic involves painting themselves as the innocent party, regardless of the situation or their involvement. Their stories often involve them being wronged, mistreated, and misunderstood by others. You got to be careful of people that every circle that they're in, every situation that they're in, every problem that comes up, somebody's always trying to do them wrong.
They never own anything. It's never their fault. They never take ownership in anything. And EP made a good point about that gaslighting trait, how people will make you feel crazy for feeling how you feel.
That's actually one of our points.
Yeah.
We'll get to it in a moment.
Yeah.
But by always being a victim, they manipulate others into siding with them, often leading to an uneven power dynamic. But remember, everyone has their own share of problems, their own share of troubles. If someone consistently portrays themselves as a victim, you might just be dealing with a manipulator.
Right. And so I want us to really remember that we are talking about cycles of behavior,
Yeah.
not particularly one-time instances, but cycles of behaviors, the repetitiveness of that type of behavior. Those are the signs that we got to start looking out for the people that we call our friend.
Yeah. Yeah. So Jeremiah 31 verses 29 and 30 is something to consider. That particular text is something to consider. You gotta watch out for people who always play the blame game. All right. Jeremiah 31 and verse 29 and 30, it says, in those days, people will no longer say, the parents have eaten sour grapes and the children's teeth are set on edge. Instead, everyone will die in their own sin. Whoever eats sour grapes, their own teeth will be set on edge. So you have to be watchful of individuals who are always trying to point the finger at someone else.
Never taking ownership. Yeah.
They always play the victim, just like the man at the pool of Bethesda. He was always pointing a finger. When Jesus came and asked him, do you want to be made whole? He said, I ain't got nobody. Every time I try to get in the pool, somebody jumped before me. I ain't got nobody to help me. Always playing the victim, always playing the blame game.
And never answering the question directly. Right? So the man at the pool of Bethesda, Jesus asked him a question. Do you want to be made whole? His response was about extenuating circumstances. Well, I don't have anybody to put me in the pool. That's not what Jesus asked you. He asked you, do you want to be made whole? So that direct question required a direct response. And sometimes manipulators are never going to be able to give you a direct response. They always want to skirt around the issue. What is happening?
This nothing.
Oh, I see that. Let's
okay. All right. Y'all tripping. All right. So number two. So number one, they're always playing the victim.
You
number two,
man,
I would just start reading y'all comments. Number two, they twist your words. Manipulators are professionals at twisting words. You probably have people in your life who are masters at this, at twisting your words. Whenever you have disagreements, they distort your words, making it seem as if everything is your fault. They take statements that you say out of context, trying to use them for their advantage.
Yeah. And when I was reading this, I thought about that little game we used to play when we were growing up, about how something would start. Like somebody would say a sentence, and then you would have to pass it around all the way around the room. And by the time it got back, it was completely different from what was said. And so a lot of times that's what happens in communication. People will take what they want to hear. They will take what they want to hear, and then that's what they will scatter. It will not be the truth. Sometimes it's not a whole lie, but it ain't the whole truth either. So they will scatter what they want to hear. And they can also begin to change the tone on what they heard, right? And so you could say simple stuff like, oh my God, I can't believe she said that. But they'll change the tone and go tell somebody, you know what, so-and-so said, oh my God, I can't believe she said that. Like she was talking cold hard smack. Like, but that's not what I said.
Right.
And that's not the tone in which I said it.
What am I missing? I must not be up to date with what's going on. What's telephone?
What? Now I'm oblivious. Okay. I don't. You watch more of the reels than I do, honey. What is telephone, y'all? Somebody tell us.
So people would try to twist your words.
What's the context? What were we talking about?
I don't know. It would take you a while to realize what is happening. Your words will be used against you.
Oh, telephone. That's the name of the game. Boy, we are so anxious.
Creating confusion and self-doubt. So your words will be used against you, creating confusion and self-doubt. It's a classic manipulation technique.
Yeah.
Right. So if you find yourself often misunderstood or misquoted, take note. You might be dealing with a highly skilled manipulator. I've seen this happen, especially And especially in pastoring, you have certain meetings with individuals, and then after you leave that meeting, next thing you know, you said something that you had no idea, it never came out of your mouth.
Yeah.
Your words have been twisted. Everything has been shifted to being in the other person's favor. I've seen it too often. You've seen it in your personal life. So you have to be aware of people who always play the victim and will always twist your words.
And this is not really like biblical, and maybe Bishop don't even agree with me, but for these manipulating people in your life, y'all better start keeping receipts. Okay, you heard it here first. You better start keeping receipts.
Well, I mean, the Bible says if you have an ought with your brother, go to them. But it also says if that doesn't work, take a witness. If you remember what I said some time ago, I said take a witness the first time because people be lying.
People be lying.
Yeah. All right. So number 3.
Where are we? They exploit your weaknesses.
That's a big one. Manipulators are like detectives. They have a skill in uncovering your insecurities and exploiting them. The truth is, manipulators often spend a considerable amount of time studying those around them. This isn't because they genuinely are interested in getting to know you. Instead, it's a calculated move to identify your weaknesses and vulnerabilities.
Yep. Calculate. I think that's the big word. Like they actually spend time watching like habits, picking up things that you do or you say in order to make that and those things work for their benefit and to harm you.
Yeah. And once they've identified your weak spots, they won't hesitate to use the information to their advantage, whether it's making you feel insecure about a personal flaw or using a past mistake as leverage.
Yeah.
Manipulating your weaknesses is a common strategy for these cunning individuals.
And don't that sound like the devil? Don't that sound just like old Slewfoot, who would take your weaknesses and use them to exploit you? Like at first, he'll use it to tempt you, right? And he'll present it to make it sound good. But at the end, you know it's going to kill you. At the end, you know it's going to destroy you, right? So understand that manipulators are absolutely operating under a demonic spirit, right? It's nothing godly about it at all.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, number 4. We're getting through them. Yeah. Might be able to get through all of them. Number 4, they make you feel guilty.
Guilt is a powerful emotion, and manipulators know exactly how to use it to their advantage.
Yeah.
If you find yourself constantly feeling guilty, even when you have not done anything wrong, right? Even when you have not said anything wrong, even if you have not acted in a wrong way, you might be dealing with a manipulator. They have a way of turning situations around and making you feel like you are the one who should be apologizing.
Yeah.
Right. And so they'll have you sitting there like, you know what, maybe I could have handled that differently, or maybe I shouldn't have said that. When deep down inside, you know that you did nothing wrong. You said nothing wrong. Your tone was right. Your attitude was right. But manipulators have a way of making you think, you know what, maybe I should have handled that differently.
They have you apologizing when they were in the wrong.
Yeah. And I don't know what it is. Like they just have this way, right, of like picking at something that starts to click with you and really making you feel like you are the wrong person or you are a bad person in general. I don't like that.
We talked about toxic connections Sunday morning. And one of the things that you were saying is you really have to be aware of this if you are an empathetic person. If you're always that type of person who has a soft heart for individuals, always like to help individuals. And I think all of us have that little part in us. So we have to beware that we don't allow people to take advantage of us by making us feel guilty. Yeah. You know how it is when and it's not a sign of manipulation, but you know how you feel when you pull up to the stoplight and you're right by the homeless person. Like you pull up to the light and you feel that guilt. You feel like, oh, I gotta find some type of money to give them. You got to beware of your emotions, beware of your feelings when you come in contact with individuals who try to make you feel guilty, even when you're not in the wrong.
Or when you don't have the capacity. I really been in this capacity vein, right? And this has nothing to do with what Bishop's got. No
Capacity.
No, you're not. No shameless
Pastoral
plug.
mentorship
No
program.
plug.
You can go to my website now and register.
No, but I have really, really been in this whole capacity vein, like honoring your capacity, realizing when you're not able and not feeling bad about it. And so manipulators have this thing where even if you know you are not able to do something, it's a different thing if you're not willing to do it. But if you know you're not even able to do it, do not allow people to play on that. Do not allow people to take advantage of that. And Jasmine even made a comment a little bit ago about manipulators in your family. Listen, this thing is not restricted to friendships and relationships. You got people with your same blood. Your same blood who will try their best to manipulate you. And you have to pray for discernment, for godly discernment, for you to realize when you're being played, right? When you're being taken advantage of, and when somebody does not have your best interests at heart.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
All right. Want to go to the next one?
Sure.
The next one, number 5.
They're never wrong.
You ever met someone who never admits they're wrong? I can guarantee you're dealing with a manipulator.
Yeah.
Manipulators have an ability, uncanny ability, to avoid taking responsibility for their actions. They will always find a way to shift blame onto others.
Yep.
No matter how obvious their mistake is, they'll twist the situation and make it seem like it's not their fault.
Yeah. Every single time. And they can be really frustrating to deal with. Again, because you start feeling like you're the problem when you know deep down inside you're not the problem. But it's so hard to get this message across to grown people, right? To get this message, we are not going to do this tonight because you're making me lose my train of thought, and I really be about to shit everybody.
It's Shannon's fault. But go ahead.
I bought a homeless guy a hot dog. He said he was a vegetarian. No, like seriously, this happened. I think I was with somebody. I was on my way to preach or something. And there was a homeless person at Cookout, and we volunteered to buy them something to eat. Now, of course, we're going straight to that 5-piece nugget, regular fry, the small stuff, right? We give this man that bag, and he says, "You could at least bought me a tray." These homeless people have no chill. They have no chill.
Some of them. You find something like that every now and then.
You could at least bought me a tray. Now, man of God, trays ain't $5 no more, okay? Anyway, what were we talking about?
They never admit they're wrong.
They're never wrong.
They're never wrong. I saw, I think someone said that they used to be like that, and they found themselves conviction hitting them, and they were walking in deliverance now. So that's phenomenal.
I love that.
That's phenomenal.
I love that. And then a lot of people are talking about like exes and people that they were used to be attached to. You ought to take a moment to praise God for your freedom, right? Yeah. For your deliverance, for your awareness that you deserve better. And also for God increasing your discernment, because for some of you, that's how your freedom came, because your discernment was strengthened. But that's another message all by itself.
That's good.
Yeah,
that's good. Number 6.
Yeah, they're emotionally draining.
Oh,
emotionally draining.
Relationships should be about mutual respect, understanding, and emotional support. But with the manipulator, it is often one-sided.
Yeah.
Woo! So you find yourself constantly trying to please them, to keep peace. You find yourself bowing down to them so that nothing arises, no trouble arises. Your feelings are dismissed or belittled, while theirs are always up front and center. You're left feeling exhausted, emotionally drained, and unheard.
Yeah. And I think, I don't know why that one resonated with me so much, because I
Me too.
think because I am such a non-confrontational person,
Yeah.
whatever I can do to keep the peace, even if you're going to continue to think that I was the bad person, I'm going to let you think that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I have found myself in positions where I should have taken up for myself, or I should have spoke up about the situation. But in order to keep the peace, in order to stay low profile, I didn't even address it. Right. And so now those manipulating people will continue in those cycles because they know that you're not going to say anything.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Right there. I'm gonna let you have it. Like, we are not gonna go back and forth. I'm not gonna plead my case. I'm gonna let you have it.
And I'm gonna disconnect from you. Now that's me.
Yeah.
That's me. Let's just go ahead and disconnect, because what you're not going to do is try to make me feel horrible about decisions that you made or something that you said, and drain me emotionally, because you know my heart, because you know how I feel about certain things, certain individuals. Now you want to drain me emotionally.
Disconnect. That's the one. Stop fooling with those people, because they are like attention driven. And so once you stop giving them attention, they'll find somebody else to go play with, because they know not to play with you.
Yep. Or they'll be absolutely upset because of how they're not affecting you. How you're not paying attention to them. That drives a manipulator insane when they find out that they can no longer affect you. So you got to take care of your emotional health.
That's primary. You are primary. And I want us to understand that you are primary. And the minute you start putting yourself and your emotions and your peace and your joy first, I promise you, you'll start recognizing the people who are disturbing you. You'll stop recognizing the people who are disturbing you. Once you start prioritizing yourself, start learning yourself, because many of you have no self-awareness. You have no self-awareness. You don't know what motivates you, what frustrates you, what triggers you. You're not aware of yourself. So now you don't understand, or now you cannot recognize when people are manipulating you, or when people are pulling you out of your comfort zone. So the more you are aware of yourself, I believe, the less mess that you will start to take.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Take care of your emotional health. Don't let anybody make you feel like you are less than your worth.
Yeah.
All right. Number 7. This is something that Pastor Jeremiah
we just mentioned earlier.
Number 7 is they'll gaslight you.
Yeah. And gaslighting is really a form of psychological manipulation, right? So more than just words, they'll begin to get in your mind, and they'll make you think, again, you are crazy for feeling how you feel.
Make you doubt.
Yeah, make you doubt your own mind, make you question your decisions, make you question what you heard, or what you felt. I think sometimes we discount that. So for manipulators, they'll make you feel some type of way, make you feel crazy for feeling that type of way, and then try to make you feel that your feelings were not valid.
Yeah.
That you didn't have a right to feel the way you felt.
And this is a tactic to help them to gain control. They'll put you in a cycle where they control you. They have power over you. So if you ever find yourself doubting your own experiences or reality, take a step back. You might be a victim of gaslighting.
And it's so common.
Absolutely.
It's very common. Yeah.
Remember, she said it's psychological manipulation. They're playing with you. They're playing mind games with you.
Yeah.
Number 8.
They give you the silent treatment.
Oh, boy.
They give you the silent treatment, also known as stonewalling. This is a tactic of manipulation, again, that is used to gain control, specifically or particularly in relationships, right? They give you the silent treatment. And so when a manipulator does not get their way, whenever they feel threatened, sometimes they just resort to silence, right? And so instead of getting down to the root issue, instead of addressing what the problem is, instead of communicating, they're going to say nothing.
So they ignore your calls, ignore your messages, ignore any attempts at a conversation. This is done to make you feel anxious, make you feel guilty, and even desperate for attention. I saw a lot of people hinting at which in reality, and sometimes we try not to make things so churchy or so deep.
Yeah.
But the reality is witchcraft, hear me, is anything that manipulates, dominates, and intimidates. Please hold on to that. Witchcraft, anything that manipulates, dominates, and intimidates. That falls under the category of witchcraft. A manipulator is a person who operates in witchcraft, and you have to be careful with these type of people.
Yeah. And even with that silent treatment, it's usually a very passive aggressive way of them showing their displeasure for the situation, or even trying to exert their control over the situation.
Yeah.
Right. So even when you hear these things, like Alex just said, my father used to do that. It allows you to start thinking about situations that you have found yourself in where people treated you like this, or when their behaviors were similar to this.
Yeah. Communication is key to a relationship. So don't let anybody manipulate you into believing otherwise, so that silent treatment and not talking to you and then want to come back into your life when they get ready. You have to beware of people like that.
Yeah. And it's really a sign of immaturity.
Absolutely.
It's really a sign of immaturity. And I want you to understand, if people have been doing this to you, that is a them problem, not a you problem. It has nothing to do with you, right? And some manipulators will make you think it has everything to do with you and nothing to do with them. But that's a them problem. It is not a you problem. It has nothing to do with your character. It usually has nothing to do with your behavior. It's their lack of maturity and their lack of willingness to communicate, even if the conversation is hard and uncomfortable.
Yeah. I'm going to make sure that we post the PowerPoint that we were going to use Sunday. We're going to post that in the church group so that you all will have 1 through 9 of all of the traits of manipulators, so that you can make some adjustments in your life. I need you to understand that we don't just give you the word of God or give you strategies and principles for life for you to just have in the moment. It's not for you to just have for this particular life, but it's for you to have so you can make adjustments and changes in your life so you can see your life progress and be better. Right. Yeah. Number 9.
Oh, and one thing, who is it? Kira, who said, I just be needing time. I want us to understand that that is completely okay. It becomes alarming when this becomes something that is continual and something that you never grow or mature out of. Right. So it's understandable for you to need time to process your thoughts. It's understandable for you to need time to process your feelings. But if you become a person who uses your time to process to harm somebody else, then that becomes a problem.
Yeah, you all could drop questions down if you want to as well. We'll stay on for a little bit. Number 9 is they make you question your worth. One of the most deceptive traits of a manipulator is their ability to make you question your self-worth. They belittle your achievements. I always tell y'all, watch out for those friends who ask you, why you going back to school? Who ask you, why you trying to do that? Why you trying to start a business? Watch out for those they belittle your achievements. They undermine your confidence and make you feel like you're not good enough.
Yeah. Again, that is a them problem, not a you problem.
Yeah.
It is not about you. It's about them. It is their way of maintaining control and keeping you in a state and in a feeling, in a moment of self-doubt.
Nobody has the right to make you feel inferior. Your worth is not determined by someone else's opinion or manipulation tactics.
Yeah.
You got to stand firm in your self-belief. This is why your self-esteem I believe is important. You don't want to move to the place where you become narcissistic or arrogant, but you need to be confident in who you are.
Yeah. And so that when somebody comes around trying to question your self-worth, you already have this belief in yourself. You already have this affirmation within yourself that even if they don't affirm you, even if they do not appreciate your worth, then it's fine. You are able to recover from that. And so Javante made the point again about them always trying to one up you. And it's a problem It's a problem when you are in a friendship group. It's a problem when you're in a relationship and the other party feels as though you guys cannot be mutually successful. Right? Like you cannot be on the same playing field, that one person cannot achieve and then another person be right after them. It's always got to be them being ahead of you. That's the problem.
Yes. And watch this. That made me think, because people who are jealous of you become manipulators, because they cannot stand to see you shine. They cannot stand to see you getting attention. And so they begin to do things to either downplay the light that's shining on you, or they do something to override what's coming to you. You got to be aware of jealous people.
And usually it's the manipulators, it's the jealous people with the lowest self-esteem. If you really get to the root of it, it's them. They're struggling with their own sense of self-worth. They're struggling with their own self-esteem. And so they got to find a way to make somebody else small just so they can feel big.
Ooh. Watch how they act when you start leading that song.
Yeah.
Watch how they act when people start responding to what you're doing. And that's just the church part. But watch how they act when you start prospering in your business, start prospering in your life. When you find somebody nice in your life, you finally find that man, you finally find that, you'll start noticing when you begin to gain how your church circle has to change.
Yep. And I want to kill this notion, because I don't know where it came from. The notion that this exists more in women than it does in men.
No.
Because it's I would even venture to say it's about equal, right? You will find this trait in both men and women, right? It's not prejudice. It does not care. It does not care. It is everywhere.
We're going to bring it to the pulpit. This is we were going to do it Sunday, but the Spirit took over. But I wanted to get this information to y'all quick. But we will bring it to the pulpit in another series later on in the year. All right. Now, catch this. This is a bonus for you all, and I think it's extremely important for you to understand this. We went through 9 different things. They always play the victim. They twist your words. They exploit your weaknesses. They make you feel guilty. They're never wrong. They're emotionally draining. They gaslight you. They give you the silent treatment. They make you question your worth. I need you all to understand this last thing. After all of that, and after you recognize that and you receive this word, they will make you feel guilty for disconnecting from them. They want to guilt you back in a relationship with them. They are the individuals that will do you wrong. You say that's enough, and then they guilt you for not allowing the relationship to return back to where it was. That keeps you they're trying to keep you in a place of bondage.
Recognize it, people. Recognize it.
Yes.
Especially when you know you heard from God. Especially when you got a clear indication from Holy Spirit that it was time for you to go. It was time for you to sever the ties. Especially when God didn't even give you the opportunity to sever the tie. He did it himself. He did it himself. And so if God is responsible for the disconnection, don't you dare allow anybody to make you feel guilty that it happened. Right? Because I ain't got to answer to you. I got to answer to God.
Absolutely.
I have to answer to God.
There has to be a boldness. There has to be a boldness that you gain in order to delete these people, block these people.
Whatever you got to do
in the relationship is for your personal advancement, for your emotional coverage, saving, protecting sanity, your emotion, all of that. You have to be able to categorize these individuals or let them go.
And I know we got to go. And not feel like, before the disconnection, not feel like you are the one responsible for changing them. Because again, we're talking about cycles, right? We're talking about repetitive behavior. So you have to understand when it has to be out of your hands and into God's hands, right? And if they don't want to turn their life over to Jesus Christ, you still get it out of your hands. Get it off of your heart, get it off of your mind.
And many of you have that Messiah complex.
That you got to save them.
Everybody that you see that has some issues and problems, they become a project to you. And you feel like you're supposed to be helping them get to another level. You're supposed to be fixing them. Take it from me. You can't fix everybody.
You can't.
Right? And you're not the Messiah.
Yeah.
Stop putting that weight on yourself and you're carrying baggage that you're not supposed to carry. You're battling battles that's not yours. You're putting yourself in wars that don't belong to you. You gotta let them go.
Yeah. And that can tie directly back to your self-awareness. Recognize those parts in you, parts of you that is overly empathetic. Recognize those parts in you who has the tendency to want to save people that don't want to be saved. Recognize those parts. Ask God to help you get over that, to help you mature in that, to tame that, to crucify that, so that now you don't become somebody else's manipulation project.
We always say that God won't put more on you than you can bear. But many of you are crumbling because you're putting more on yourself.
Yep.
It's not God. He didn't tell you to take on that.
He actually told you to run.
He didn't. Yeah, he didn't tell you to mess with that. You're putting more on yourself.
Yeah.
And it's hurting you, it's damaging you, and you can't figure out what's going on. You're not sleeping at night. You're losing your mind, losing hair, losing weight, all because of individuals in your life that you need to let go.
You've given them access. Now it's time for you to take it back. Access is a privilege. As quick as you get it will be as quick as I take it away.
And stop feeling guilty for letting people go.
Yeah.
Stop feeling guilty for a change in a relationship. If they cannot admit, like the manipulator can admit where they're wrong, and you can, no matter what their story is to everybody else, no matter how they make you look in the eyes of other people, you got to get them out of your life.
Yep. With an urgency, because your destiny depends on it.
Absolutely. Does anybody have any questions tonight? We want to answer any questions. Maybe you see some traits. Maybe you have a situation and you need some clarity or an answer. We're here to help you on tonight.
Absolutely.
We're here to help you on tonight. But you don't want to get in circles, connections that create cycles in your life. Much of the headache that you have is because you're connected to the wrong people. And you got to make those adjustments. All right. This lesson, we'll post the PDF file tonight. Matter of fact, I think I can post this whole thing.
Angel had a question. Let me see if I can find it.
You know what, y'all? Instead of posting the PowerPoint, I'll post the actual sermon.
Because it got all the notes.
Yeah, it's got all the notes in it. So I'll post the actual sermon. It will read like I'm preaching it because that's what was supposed to be happening. But I'll read the actual. I'll post the actual sermon.
So Angel said, how do you know when it's time to cut them off? Is there such thing as cutting people off too quickly?
There is a such thing as cutting people off too quickly, but there is also a such thing as keeping them too long. So there has to be a good balance. So you have to be able to tell, hey, I'm trying to help them, but they're not advancing. If they're not listening to anything you have to say, if they're not trying to make adjustments, not trying to make that turn, you have to let them go. What's your perspective on it?
I don't know. Like, I cannot specifically say that something might happen or look for this specific sign. I think you will just know once you've reached a place of maturity, once your discernment is strengthened, you'll just kind of know that, you know what, this is it. We have come as far as we're going to go together. And it's just time to let it go.
You can set your own balance, your own boundaries. You can set your own boundaries and say, hey, I've tried this. I've sat and talked with them. I had somebody else sit and talk with us. You know, you can set your own boundaries and then, hey, all right, that didn't work. There's nothing I can do.
Yeah. We've had some more questions. Let's scroll back up.
Oh, I miss them.
If a person's energy towards you changes and they never say anything to you, do you ask questions or do you just let it be?
Ooh,
I personally think for me, um, a few things. Number one, it depends on the person.
yeah, it depends on the person.
It depends on the person. If I know that me and this person had a somewhat solid relationship, that everything was cool, and then all of a sudden things get a little iffy, then yeah, I'm gonna go to address it. If I know that this person has the tendency to do this to people that I've seen, right? Because we're
Yeah,
talking about
that's good.
recognizing cycles. If I understand that this is not the first time that this has happened with this particular
That's
person,
good.
then baby, I'm not gonna run you down and you're not going to stress me out either.
That's good.
Yeah. So it depends, Candace. If you really feel like that relationship, friendship, whatever it was,
Hmm.
had the potential to be something, then absolutely go ask them, because clarification and solid communication really solves a lot of problems.
That's good. Somebody said, "Can you do a relationship series?" I don't think
Hmm.
we could
We've
probably
never
do
done that.
something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like you a little bit, so we can talk.
Will the lesson be posted tonight? Absolutely.
Scroll back
I'll
down.
make
There
sure.
was nothing up
Oh, I'm
there.
sorry. Huh?
Keep
Oh,
going
okay.
down. Yeah. So how do you wait a
Oh,
minute.
wait. What I do?
How do you deal when your parents are the manipulators? So this can get kind of tight. This can get kind of iffy, because you never want to get in a place of dishonor when it comes to your parents. But
Boundaries. Categorize.
boundaries, boundaries, and it is okay to have boundaries for everybody in your life.
Yeah.
Everybody, right?
It might not be a cutoff, but it can be a categorizing, to know that, all right, this is about how much I can give them. This is
Yeah.
about how much time, how much space, how much communication I can give them before it starts going left. So that you don't enter to that place where it's dishonor.
Yeah. And also, and this is not giving anybody a free pass, but this is about recognizing behavior and asking yourself. Sometimes we got to ask ourselves, why are they acting this way? Why is this their response? Why is this the way that they, deal with situation? And especially with family members, because you have so much history, usually because you know so much about them. You can ask yourself this question: what is it about their upbringing, their environment, the way they were raised that makes them act like that? This is not to give them a pass, but it is to give them some grace.
That's good. That's good. Somebody, Ramona, says sometimes people only use their manipulative ways in an intimate relationship, and amongst the public, they're the opposite.
Jesus,
Mm,
say that
good point.
again.
Good point.
Yeah.
Jairus says something too. Sometimes distance is the honor that needs to be shown, so disrespect doesn't take place. That's good. That's
Very
good.
good.
Y'all preaching too.
Yeah.
This will be saved on YouTube. It's on YouTube right now. We're live on YouTube right now. All right. There you go. How do you continue to build culture as a church when you notice cycles in certain people, but we have to work together and move the ministry forward? So this is where maturity comes in, because I need to be able to come to you and say, hey, and this is why I say take a witness the first time. But I need to be able to come to you and say, hey, this is what I'm noticing in you. This is the behavior pattern that I'm noticing in you. And stop going to people as a directive and maybe come with a conversation. Try to understand people first before we draw conclusions or give them instruction. Yeah. I think that helps.
And also monitoring the tone in which you approach them. That's also going to be important. And so I think one of the things that I think we should talk about, not only in leadership, but as a church as a whole, what conflict resolution looks like from a ministry perspective.
They're actually doing that first Sunday.
Yeah,
that's
gonna be good.
That's good. Yes, we stream to YouTube because two of my members, Miss Javante Bass and Coach Jay, said they're not on Facebook, so we started streaming to YouTube. That's all right. All right.
Someone said,
I missed it. Did I miss something?
A bit. Can you pray them out?
She said, so I can delete Facebook.
I never want you to not pray for somebody. But I also don't want us to feel this continual burden to pray for people who don't want to change. And that's my thoughts.
Yeah. Well, that's good. I saw that question from a different perspective.
Okay.
I thought they meant, can you pray them out of your life? Both perspectives work. No, yours is right.
You always trying to get rid of
Yours is
people.
right. And listen, yes, you can pray them out, because sometimes you got to know you. Sometimes you don't have the boldness to make people leave, to tell people this is over. And maybe you do need to say,
that's Lana.
Maybe you do need to say, Lord, can you, I can't get out of this cycle with them.
Yeah.
The stronghold is too big. The soul tie is too strong. I can't get out of this. God, I need you to come in and do this.
Yeah. This was good.
Yeah.
You're an awesome teacher. You're pretty cool.
Yeah.
My pizza is on the porch, guys, and it's getting cold.
Oh, yeah. All right. So you all have a wonderful night. No, for real, seriously, you all, thank you so much for tuning in tonight.
Don't forget to sow your midweek push seed.
Absolutely. Here are the ways to give.
$20.
All right. Everybody sold that seed of $20 tonight. It's 88 of you up here. I want to see 88 cash apps come through.
Let me go get mine right
now. All right. Plus the 2 here sitting here. So I want you all to make sure that you sow your seed tonight. Mount Moriah, y'all come on. Let's do it big. Let's make sure that our midweek push is real big. Thank you so much. We need to start doing some commercials. We got to pay bills. Thank you all so much for tuning in. We appreciate you all being on tonight. Wait, taxes drop tomorrow. Make sure you return your tithe.
Hey,
amen. This is on YouTube. It'll still be on Facebook. I'm going to post the actual sermon within the group tonight. I'm going to go to my phone tonight, and I'm going to make sure it's up there. All right. You all have a blessed night.
Bless the peace of the Lord. And Jairus, I can't get up there early. I love y'all though.
What happened?
He's talking about part 2 on the pour in the morning.
Oh, tomorrow's Thursday?
Yeah.
My days have been thrown off. I took one day off and I've been thrown off. All right. We'll see you all. I'll see you all in the morning for the pour. Join me in the morning at 7 a.m. for the pour.
Dumb. This is dumb. So dumb.
All right, you all. We love you.
Love
and
y'all.
You all have an amazing night.
Peace.